For decades, Africa's wealth has flowed in the wrong direction, outward into the hands of foreign powers, leaving its people trapped in cycles of dependency. But what if that cycle could finally be broken? What if Burkina Faso has just found the key to true financial independence? Enter Arzeka, a revolutionary financial system that isn't just changing how people bank, it's rewriting the rules of the entire economy. Could this be the beginning of a new era where Africa finally controls its wealth? Or will powerful forces try to stop it before it's too late? Here, we would like to take a moment and thank you for supporting us and being a valued part of our strong community. And if you are not yet a member, we encourage you to join us and help build an even stronger community together. Let's get started. Africa's economic fate has been written in boardrooms far from its shores. Western financial institutions like the International Monetary Fund (IMF) and the World Bank have played the role of benevolent creditors, offering loans that come with hidden shackles. These loans, often presented as lifelines, have turned into economic chains, keeping nations trapped in cycles of debt, dependency, and austerity, measures that benefit foreign investors more than the local population. Burkina Faso, like many African nations, has been caught in this trap for far too long. Every major infrastructure project, every government reform, and every economic policy had to be aligned with the interests of those who controlled the financial pipelines. Leaders had to negotiate, compromise, and often surrender national priorities just to access funding that never truly freed them.
IMF and World Bank are economic enslavers. What they are designed to do is to ensure that we are in a perpetual state of debt. You can never get out of IMF and Bretton Woods institutions generally because they want to ensure that they control your economy, and when they control your economy, they control your politics, and when they control your politics, they control you, and when they control you, they bring in military bases, and when they bring in military bases, they determine who governs you, because if you don't play ball, they are going to instigate the armies to overthrow you, because in any event, African armies want to be trained in Sandhurst. They still want to be trained in the United States of America. So their world view is still dictated by those foreign powers. What we must do as a continent is to use our institutions for purposes of financing our affairs. The African Development Bank was going to be such an engine, but you now know that it has almost 88 shareholders. The second largest shareholder is the United States of America. Japan has shareholding. The United Kingdom has shareholding. France has shareholding. They have seized and captured and paralyzed African Development Bank. It is only African in name.
But what if that cycle could be broken? What if a nation could finally control its economic destiny without seeking permission from foreign creditors? This is exactly what Burkina Faso is attempting with Arzeka, a groundbreaking financial platform that is more than just an app. It represents an entirely new way of managing money, reducing corruption, and empowering citizens. The promise of Arzeka is clear. Burkina Faso's wealth should stay in Burkina Faso. The country should decide how its money flows, who benefits, and where its financial future leads. But the question remains, can one financial system truly reshape the economic foundation of an entire country? But what does Arzeka do? Here's a reminder to please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on Black culture, history, civilization, and identity. Let's continue now. With all the buzz around Arzeka, one question remains. What exactly does it do, and why is it so important? It's easy to call it a financial revolution, but what does that look like in real life? What problems does it solve, and how does it work? At its core, Arzeka is a digital financial system designed to bring transparency, efficiency, and accessibility to Burkina Faso's economy. But this isn't just another banking app. It's a multi-layered financial ecosystem that fundamentally changes how money moves, how corruption is prevented, and how economic power is distributed. First, Arzeka ensures that every transaction in Burkina Faso is fully traceable. Whether it's a government salary payment, a tax collection, a business transaction, or a social welfare disbursement, everything is recorded, monitored, and protected. This is a game changer in a country where financial mismanagement has often drained public funds before they could reach the people. By eliminating hidden transfers and unofficial cash movements, Arzeka ensures that every franc is accounted for. Second, it provides instant access to financial services for all citizens. Before Arzeka, opening a bank account in Burkina Faso could be a long, expensive, and bureaucratic process, often reserved for the privileged few. Millions of people, especially those in rural areas, were excluded from the financial system. Now, with just a mobile phone, anyone, from farmers to small business owners, can save money, send payments, and even apply for small loans. It brings banking to the people, rather than forcing people to come to the banks. We will talk about later why this was so important. Third, Arzeka eliminates the middlemen who have historically profited from Burkina Faso's financial system. For decades, financial transactions have been slowed down and made more expensive by layers of bureaucracy, predatory intermediaries, and corrupt officials. Money meant for development often had to pass through too many hands, and by the time it reached its intended destination, much of it had mysteriously disappeared. With Arzeka, transactions are direct, immediate, and secure. There's no opportunity for money to vanish in the system. But perhaps the most revolutionary aspect of Arzeka is how it strengthens Burkina Faso's financial independence. For too long, African nations have relied on Western financial institutions to manage their economies. The control of money, where it flows, how it is spent, and who benefits, has always been dictated from the outside. Arzeka disrupts that control by ensuring that Burkina Faso can manage its wealth without needing approval from foreign lenders. Imagine a Burkina Faso where tax revenues are properly collected and used for national development, where salaries for public workers are paid on time without corruption, where small businesses can thrive without relying on expensive foreign-controlled banks. That's the future Arzeka is building. But the question is, can one app change an entire economy? At first glance, Arzeka might seem like just another digital banking initiative, something similar to the mobile money platforms already seen in other parts of Africa. But Arzeka is not just a tool for convenience, it is a weapon against financial mismanagement, a force of economic transformation designed to fundamentally change how money moves within Burkina Faso. To understand why this matters, consider what happened in Kenya with M-Pesa. When it was launched in 2007, most financial analysts saw it as nothing more than a simple mobile payment system. But in reality, it became the backbone of Kenya's economy, transforming how business was done. People who had never had access to a bank account suddenly had financial power in their hands. Farmers, small business owners, and urban workers could send and receive money instantly without relying on costly intermediaries. In just a few years, over 40% of Kenya's GDP was flowing through M-Pesa, making it one of the most successful digital financial revolutions in the world. Now, Burkina Faso is aiming to go even further. Arzeka is not just about digital transactions, it is about creating a financial system that serves the people instead of the elite. In a country where financial corruption has long siphoned resources away from the public, Arzeka's transparency will ensure that every transaction can be tracked, monitored, and accounted for. It is designed to make sure that every citizen, no matter where they are, has access to banking services that are fast, affordable, and secure. The implications of this are massive. If Arzeka succeeds, it will mean that every franc that enters the system will serve the interests of the people, not corrupt politicians or foreign corporations. It will mean that every transaction, whether a government salary payment or a small business loan, will be fully transparent. And most importantly, it will mean that Burkina Faso is no longer forced to rely on foreign financial institutions to fund its development. And that's where things take a truly revolutionary turn. Because when a country controls its financial system, it no longer has to obey the rules set by external forces. Which leads to the bigger question. If Arzeka succeeds, could this spell the end of Western financial control over Burkina Faso? The financial dominance of Western institutions over Africa is no accident. It is the result of a carefully maintained system, one that ensures African economies remain perpetually reliant on foreign money. The so-called development loans from the IMF and World Bank have never truly been about helping African nations prosper. They have been about maintaining control. The game works like this. An African country needs funding for roads, schools, hospitals, or industry. Western financial institutions step in, offering assistance in the form of loans. But these loans come with strict conditions: privatization of state assets, removal of subsidies, and economic reforms that weaken national sovereignty. Governments are then forced to prioritize repaying these loans over investing in their people. The result? The wealth of the country flows outward instead of circulating within. Burkina Faso has had enough. Under President Ibrahim Traoré, the country has taken a firm stance against economic subjugation. Instead of continuing to seek loans from Western financial institutions, Burkina Faso is focusing on internal wealth generation. And Arzeka is at the core of this strategy. By ensuring that all financial transactions are transparent, Arzeka eliminates the need for foreign oversight. The government will no longer have to justify its spending to international creditors because it will be generating its revenue. Instead of relying on foreign loans, Burkina Faso can now fund its projects through effective tax collection and internal financial management. However, economic independence is meaningless if financial inclusion remains limited. If Arzeka is truly going to change Burkina Faso's financial landscape, it must reach every citizen, even in the most remote areas. So, will Arzeka make banking accessible to every citizen? One of Africa's biggest financial challenges has always been accessibility. Traditional banking systems have overwhelmingly served urban elites, leaving millions of rural citizens without access to financial services. This has created an economic divide where rural populations remain trapped in cash-based economies, unable to save, invest, or grow their businesses. In Burkina Faso, this problem has been even more pronounced. A farmer in a remote village might need to travel hundreds of kilometers just to reach a bank. Many people lack the necessary documentation to open accounts, while transaction fees and bureaucratic red tape make formal banking an impossibility for most. Arzeka changes all of this. By leveraging mobile technology, it allows anyone with a phone to access financial services instantly. Users can send and receive money, pay bills, apply for loans, and even store their savings securely, all without ever stepping into a bank. And this isn't just theory, it's already happening. The rise of Burkina Faso's postal bank is further strengthening financial accessibility, creating banking hubs in areas that private banks have long ignored. The combination of Arzeka's digital reach and the postal bank's physical presence means that for the first time, Burkina Faso is creating a financial system that truly serves all its people. This isn't just about convenience, it's about economic empowerment. Because when people have financial access, they have control over their future. They can invest in education, expand businesses, and participate in the economy in ways that were previously impossible. But the impact of Arzeka doesn't stop at Burkina Faso's borders. The country isn't just aiming for domestic financial independence, it's looking to build a regional financial powerhouse. Could this be the start of West Africa's financial superpower? Burkina Faso is not acting alone. In partnership with Mali and Niger, the country is laying the foundation for a regional financial alliance that could challenge Western economic dominance in West Africa. The newly established AES Alliance Bank is part of this grand vision, ensuring that regional financial cooperation remains under African control. This shift is monumental. For decades, African trade and financial transactions have been conducted through Western financial systems, ensuring that a significant portion of Africa's wealth always ends up in foreign hands. A West African financial system that is independent and regionally controlled threatens that status quo. If Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger succeed in creating a self-sufficient financial network, it could pave the way for a larger African economic coalition, one that controls its destiny instead of relying on foreign financial institutions. And at the center of it all, Arzeka. But why is Traoré doing all this? Why is he not like other leaders? African politics has seen a long line of leaders who came to power with big promises, only to fall into the same pattern of corruption, dependency, and submission to foreign interests. Some started as revolutionaries, but once in office, they became comfortable, choosing personal wealth over national sovereignty. Others simply followed the system already in place, knowing that real independence was too dangerous to pursue. So, what makes Ibrahim Traoré different? Why is he risking everything to change Burkina Faso's financial system? Why is he not following the script that so many before him did? The answer is simple. Traoré is not here to rule. He is here to liberate. Unlike many leaders who rise to power for prestige, wealth, or the support of foreign backers, Traoré's leadership comes from a deep-rooted ideological conviction. The belief that Burkina Faso must be free from external control, politically and economically. He is not content with simply being in charge. He wants to rewrite the future of the nation. His approach is radical, and that's what makes him unique. He is not seeking approval from the West. He is not playing by the rules of the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, or any of the institutions that have historically controlled Africa's wealth from behind the scenes. Instead, he is building new institutions, breaking old dependencies, and taking direct control of the country's finances. One of the clearest signs of this is how he has rejected Western financial aid. While previous leaders accepted foreign loans that came with strings attached, Traoré has made it clear: Burkina Faso will fund its development. No more agreements that give foreign entities control over national resources. No more deals that prioritize international investors over local businesses. With the creation of Arzeka and the Treasury Bank, Traoré is proving that Burkina Faso can generate its wealth and manage its economy. But what truly sets him apart is his willingness to confront those who have long benefited from Burkina Faso's dependence. He has expelled French military forces, severed economic ties that kept the country under Western influence, and publicly rejected the idea that Burkina Faso needs foreign intervention to survive. His policies are not just about financial independence, they are about total sovereignty. Traoré is a leader who is acting, not just talking. Many African leaders have spoken about economic liberation, but when the time came to act, they hesitated, fearing economic retaliation, sanctions, or even Western-backed coups. But Traoré understands something crucial. A nation that controls its economy can withstand any external pressure. That is why Arzeka is so important. It is not just a financial platform. It is a foundation for real independence. His leadership is a direct challenge to the old ways of doing things. He is proving that an African leader does not need to bow to external powers to govern effectively. And that is why his enemies, both inside and outside of Burkina Faso, are watching closely. Because if he succeeds, he won't just change Burkina Faso, he will set an example for the entire continent. Apart from that, there is an important thing to notice, and that is that for decades the dominant narrative has been that West Africa cannot survive, let alone thrive, without Western aid and institutions like ECOWAS, the IMF, and the World Bank. The idea that African nations could independently manage their economies, trade freely among themselves, and build strong regional alliances was dismissed as unrealistic. But now, the events unfolding in Burkina Faso are shattering that myth. The country has already cut ties with ECOWAS, a bloc that was originally meant to promote economic and political unity in West Africa, but has instead become a tool for foreign influence and economic control. For years, ECOWAS has sided with Western interests, imposing sanctions, restricting trade, and punishing governments that dared to challenge the status quo. When Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger took a bold step towards sovereignty, they were met with ECOWAS sanctions, not support. That was the moment it became clear. West Africa needed a new path. And that's exactly what's happening now. The launch of the AES passport is proof that Burkina Faso and its regional allies don't need ECOWAS to function. They don't need permission from the West to trade, move, or build a future together. They are doing it on their terms. Now, enter Arzeka. This app is not just a financial tool, it's a symbol of what West Africa can achieve without Western interference. It shows that West African countries can manage their financial systems, create their wealth, and fund their development, without begging for foreign loans. Think about it. Before, countries like Burkina Faso had to follow IMF-mandated economic policies just to stay afloat. They had to comply with foreign rules, privatize industries, and accept debt that kept them trapped in an endless cycle. Now, with Arzeka ensuring internal financial control, the government can collect its revenue, track every franc, and invest directly in its people. There's no need for Western aid when the economy is run efficiently from within. Burkina Faso is proving something groundbreaking. When African nations take control of their financial systems, they are not weaker, they are stronger. They are more stable, more independent, and more capable of deciding their destinies. With AES forming its economic structures, including the AES Bank, the region is laying the foundation for a financially independent West Africa, one where money stays in African hands, resources are used for African development, and foreign interference is a thing of the past. Arzeka, in many ways, is the final piece of the puzzle. A financial system that protects the wealth of Burkina Faso and its allies means that Western nations can no longer manipulate economies through aid, sanctions, or forced trade agreements. So, what does this mean for the future? It means that West Africa is entering a new era, one where it no longer looks outward for help, but inward for strength. The launch of the AES passport is just the beginning. Arzeka is proving that with the right systems in place, West Africa doesn't need Western aid. It needs its financial sovereignty, and that's exactly what it's building. Do you think Africa is better without any interference? Where do you hope to see Africa in a few years if it keeps progressing? Let us know in the comment section. Can anything stop Africa? Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If so, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon next to it. We have decided to bring videos on something nobody talks about: the Black culture, civilization, history, and evidence about how glorious Blacks have been. Thanks for watching, and until the next video, stay tuned.